One planet, 7.3 billion people, only one you. Life offers us many opportunities and learning experiences. Are you ready to explore and discover this beautiful planet, the life and energy all around the spiritual world, and what is unseen, along with your own personal soul adventure? Marc Lainhart, the Intuitive Prospector, is the spiritual connection you have been prospecting for. Internationally known as a tested and professional clairvoyant medium and spiritual advisor, Marc's work as a metaphysical teacher, medical instructor, radio show host, inspirational writer, and hiking guide are here to help you on a journey of self-discovery, healing, inspiration, education, and a whole lot of spiritual awesomeness. Dare to dream, dare to explore, dare to live. For more information on Marc's spiritual practice in Seattle, Washington, please visit marclainhart.com or internet search The Intuitive Prospector.
Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be in this beautiful planet of ours. This is Marc Lainhart, the Intuitive Prospector, here live in my studio in Seattle, Washington. Tis the season, right, to be PPD'd up, to have your face mask. So I just want to say thank you to the young lady who sent me a bunch of Star Wars, customized Star Wars masks. You guys know, I'm a big fan of Star Wars. And I always appreciate it when people do really nice things for me, so I wanted to just show that off. I've got a whole bunch of different kinds, but we're required to wear masks here in Seattle as part of our new norm. And this morning, speaking of new norms, we're going to be talking about mindfulness and awareness to groupthink. Groupthink is a theory that I came across in college when I started taking philosophy and critical thinking courses, and there was a lot of discussion on groupthink. But before we jump into today's encouragement message, positive, inspirational show, I just want to say thank you for all of the birthday wishes that came into my Facebook page, my Instagram page, personal emails, some of the gifts I received. I just want to say thank you. I got to show you guys a pretty epic t-shirt that I received. It's pretty funny. It says, April birthday, 2020, the year when, you know what, hit the fan, quarantine. So that was my birthday shirt for this year in 2020, an actual quarantine t-shirt. And I just want to say thank you to everybody who donated to my charity for this year. I always try to give, when I do a show, I ask for a donation. And for my birthday, I actually donated to Feed America because our food banks are just getting hammered right now with the amount of people that are have been laid off. I don't even know what the numbers are as of today. I know it's in the millions, high in 26 million or something like that, which is just mind-blowing. But our food banks really need the support in order to feed people. So I did Feed America. I had set a goal for $1,500. We went over goal by $17. So again, thank you. This is what we do, guys. This is during a great change in our history, or what we say unprecedented times, as the sun is coming out, and I love it. It's kind of blinding, actually. I'm gonna let it flow. I'm gonna let the sunlight in because it's the sunlight that erases the darkness, right? And just want to say thank you for tuning in to Metaphysical Mocha Mondays. I'm your host, Marc Lainhart, the Intuitive Prospector. I'm here every Monday morning, most Monday mornings from 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, or 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then at 8:30 we move into the Healing Cafe. And the Healing Cafe is really based on where I have conversations directly with you. Q&A, healing. I think today I'm going to do a meditation in the Healing Cafe and just kind of set the tone for healing, because there's a lot of people that need healing in this planet. I'll do a few readings too. I might do mediumship or psychic, or just intuitive awareness, or give you a card. So it's kind of literally a spiritual box of chocolates. There's nothing planned in the Healing Cafe until I show up, and then we kind of just take the box off the lid and restart doing a little spiritual prospecting for your own spiritual transformations, your own spiritual healing, and of course your own spiritual gold. But in order to have a successful Metaphysical Mocha Mondays every Monday morning, we have to have mocha. We got to have coffee. So grab your coffee, grab your tea. Take a deep breath with me. Let's move into what I call the magic of the moment. Let's just let the past go for the next 30 minutes. Let the future go for the next 30 minutes. Because the true power lies in the magic of the moment, what you're responding to, what you're in control of. And that sun is awesome. I love it. So I just want to say thank you. If you're a first-time visitor to the show, like I said, make sure to subscribe or like to the Intuitive Prospector page. That is my main business page. You can also get on my YouTube channel, which is, I believe there's a link in the description field, and also my Instagram channel, because I'm doing a lot of spiritual takeout, not on Facebook, but over on my YouTube channel and my Instagram channel. And this last show I just did, spiritual takeout is just everything. It's just carpe diem. It's whatever I feel like doing, and I show up and I come right to your desktop, your mobile phone, whether you're on Instagram or YouTube or Learn It Live or Insight Timer. And this last week we did Qigong finger exercises. So we actually worked with the energy and the Qigong modalities of working with energy around the fingers. And it was only 20 minutes, but it's a lot of fun. So make sure to get over on my YouTube channel, because that's where you can find some spiritual takeout. You can also find me every second and fourth Wisdom Wednesday for Inspired Living Radio. That is my podcast. It's my live radio show through Om Times Radio Media and Magazine. And then it goes to the podcast format on YouTube, SoundCloud, Podbean, iTunes, MarcLainhart.com. I just had a wonderful guest on, Paul Jacobs. Some of you know him and follow his work. We talked about the signature of the soul. It was a lot of fun. I have Mavis Patilla coming up in May during Mother's Day week, so that'll be a very fun show. And then some other guests that are coming up. Ramechas Davis-Wright will be coming up. I've got her scheduled in June. She's Norway's favorite spiritual medium and author. So we've got some great shows coming up, and that's every second and fourth Wisdom Wednesday of the month. So the second and fourth. Just go to marclainhart.com to get to that link for Inspired Living Radio. It's a global player, so you can listen to the show anywhere from around the world. You don't need a membership, a password, a username, any of that. So make sure to check that out, Inspired Living Radio. And then again, if you want any other information about me, my work, how I got here, what I did to get here, my backstory, my education, go to marclainhart.com or just internet search Intuitive Prospector, and you'll find all my professional directories that I'm associated with as well. So let's do a little prospecting. Let's talk about groupthink. And for me, groupthink is really something that popped into my brain during meditations, because I'm just seeing a lot of groupthink going on right now. And I first started learning about the theory of groupthink. And so today's message is to be mindful and have awareness, because awareness is your greatest agent for change. Eckhart Tolle reminds us of that. But to be mindful and aware of what a groupthink is, because groupthinks, I'm seeing a lot of it right now. I'm seeing a lot of, with everything that's going on in history, whether it's politics or religion or people just fighting against each other, I'm seeing a lot of sheeple. And today I'm here to remind you, don't be a sheeple, be a human being. A being that is intelligent, that's logical, use reasons, has morals, has values, has ethics. Don't get caught up in groupthink. And groupthink, we know from history past, has led to some very bad things. The Bay of Pigs comes to mind. That was a groupthink activity. Groupthink is where, if you were to get into the definition of groupthink, it's really where a bunch of people get together, and it's a group decision. It's a decision-making process. And again, the theory came from Irving Janis in 1972, so the year I was born. And it's really faulty decision making that can occur in groups, and it can be a result of forces that bring a group together. So a group cohesion, if you will. And one of the things, another example that comes to mind in our current society of groupthink is all the conspiracy theories out there. I got people calling me, asking me for readings like, is this the end of the world? No, it is not the end of the world. The human species may be changed from this, but Mother Earth will always continue on. Humans have been bad for a long, long time, guys, and Mother Earth, it's just like in life. There's the universal law, and there's the rules of law and life as itself. And if you are a parent and you have a bad child that is consistently doing bad things and not being respectful, being respectful to the house, tearing the house up, for example, you as a parent would put that child in timeout. You would put that, I'd say most parents would, not all parents. You would put that child in a timeout. You would put that child in some sort of disciplinary action to learn that is not the way that we do things. If you're in school, most of us went to school, and if you did not perform in a good manner and you misbehaved at school, you were consequences of that, and that was put into detention or writing on the chalkboard. I will not do that 100 times. And it's no different from what Mother Earth is teaching us right now. And that is, humans have been bad for a long time. How we kill animals, how we pollute the planet, how we don't take care of other people. People are saying, I hope this goes back to normal. I don't believe, and I don't personally see that this will go back to normal, because normal wasn't working before. And Mother Earth has reminded us as humans that we've all been bad, and she put all humans in timeout. I've never seen that before on a global scale. We haven't seen it in over a century since the great pandemic of 1918. So today, there's a lot of groupthink that I see going on, which can cause disasters by people coming together and thinking that they're doing something, and then realize it's actually not a beneficial groupthink, or it's not a beneficial thing to society. Again, a lot of conspiracy theories out there that I've seen, and that's what fear drives that type of thinking. Another example that's a great example is the Challenger disaster. Some of you may remember, I remember watching it live with the first school teacher about to go into space, and that was a groupthink activity that really pushed the Discovery, or the Challenger, to take off when it wasn't actually ready. And what a disaster that turned out, just a horrible disaster. That was caused by groupthink. Some of the things that we're in right now, from a leadership standpoint, prevention. I've talked about prevention for a long time, just because I'm a retired firefighter. And the one thing that we always talked about was prevention. In order to keep something from happening, you take good planning and you do prevention. And so in a sense, this to me feels like a groupthink activity that's caused great harm. It's caused great financial crisis, health crisis. And I can sit here and tell you today that I personally know somebody that was impacted by COVID-19 in New York. Jason Buterbaugh, give him a shout out, who's now moved over into the spirit world. He was 2 years behind me in basketball, and we played senior varsity basketball together, and just a great guy. And he passed 2 years younger than me, and he passed from, either directly or indirectly from the COVID-19. We don't know yet, but it's hitting home. I talked to my healthcare provider the other day versus telemedicine. She's lost 2 colleagues on her own level. So if you guys think this is fake, then you really need to reevaluate what's going on in your life, because this is not fake. This is real. Be mindful, though, of what you watch and what you take in, because that's also groupthink. Groupthink can lead to gaslighting. Groupthink can lead to other ways to get you to think that, to be involved in something that you don't need to be. So I always remind people, don't be a sheeple, be a unicorn. And don't follow what everybody's saying. Get the information, process the information, but then sit with your own logic and your own reasoning and say, is that right? Does that feel right? Does that, use your logic and your education and your life experiences to make an informed decision. That's part of living authentically as well, is not always following what people say. I, started to break free from all of that stuff because sometimes you gotta get along to go along, which was taught to me. I don't buy that anymore, and sometimes it can be a lonely place to walk your authentic self, to not be involved in groupthink. I'm going to give you some tips to avoid and to recognize what groupthink is, but I'm seeing a lot of it out right now today. And just remember, guys, when you're watching television, tell a vision. Be mindful of what you're watching, because it does influence you. It does influence your thoughts. And again, you want to be that unicorn. You don't want to be part of the sheeple. So one of the things is just understanding, what is the groupthink theory? What does it mean? How does it occur? Just think of the last time, a great example is just think of the last time that you were part of a group. Maybe it was a school project. Maybe it was, for me, I'm part of a group every week because I have my online spiritual development group. And thank you to the team behind the scenes that helps me run this show as well. That's a group. That's a team. But what happens is, imagine that someone proposes an idea that you think is quite poor. And, when we get into group collaboration, that's part of, presenting ideas. Some ideas are great, some ideas not so great, but that's part of the group collaboration of working together and teamwork. And we're not seeing that in society right now. Part of the reasons that I feel that the United States is becoming a failed state, and I hate to say that, I really do, especially as a former coastie, as a retired firefighter, the United States is becoming a failed state because it can't work together. The politics have divided so many people, and if we're not careful, guys, we're going to get ourselves into another civil war, some sort of revolution, and I hope that that is not the case. But again, this is also something that I talked about in my predictions for 2020 of what I saw from a psychic standpoint in the energy was the great coming together, sustainability, and self-mastery. And if we can get those 3 things in place, then we will turn that corner to be working together. Because again, if we go down this road of mind think or group think, if you will, then these ideas are going to continue. These bad ideas are going to continue to push forth forcefully, and we don't want that. So just think of group think of understanding what it is. It's just someone it presents a poor idea, and then everyone else in the group agrees with the person who suggested that poor idea, and then the group is set on pursuing that course of action. And again, we find ourselves in the unprecedented times. We haven't seen in our history in over 100 years, and a lot of that's because we had poor planning and poor prevention. And I would just say the government and people in leadership on both sides of the house would be at fault for that. because there's groupthink that's going on right now. So again, in many cases, people end up engaging in groupthink when they fear that their objection might disrupt the harmony of the group. And we're seeing a lot of that right now. People, I'll probably get attacked either on this show or the Healing Cafe because of what I'm saying here on social media. People like to attack behind a keyboard. But I've also realized that's part of the world, that's part of social media. When you go on social media, just be prepared to get attacked. That's just, you have to have some thick skin, and as a sensitive, as an empath, I used to really take it personally. Now I don't, because part of my authentic self is still sharing with you off my heart of what I'm picking up in my meditations, what I'm seeing for the future. And right now we're in a big group think of making really poor decisions that are really now risking people's lives, and that to me is very concerning. So always speak up, always speak your truth, because if you don't speak up for yourself, guys, no one else will. But you can always speak up, and be it in what I present is being kind, caring, and compassionate. Your words of honey go a lot farther than your words of vinegar. And so you can still speak up in a group think, and yeah, people may, collectively, say that's a bad idea, but you still want to voice your concerns, your dissent, your agreement. But again, like my grandma used to tell me, a closed mouth doesn't get fed, and there's a lot of truth to that. So just be mindful of groupthink, be mindful and aware of what you're taking in. Again, television is to tell a vision, turn into a program, or turn into a certain channel, because channels present different information, and that's causing divide. And if we know anything from history past, a house divided doesn't stand. And I really want us to come together and to stand as one house, regardless of political or religious affiliations, because we're all different, but we need to learn to respect the differences of people, and also not just, maybe they support one person, so they're just going to not talk to them. I get that. But at some point, you've got to also draw a line in the sand and say, this person does a lot of bad things, says a lot of bad things, and risks people's lives. And if you support that, then I start to believe, well, maybe that is what you truly believe. And I've lost some friendships and family members because of some of what's going on in our society. Here's how I kind of look at it. If you have a table of 10 people that are sitting down having a nice dinner, and a Nazi walks in from the past, an actual Hitler SS German captain of the Hitler fascism regime walks in, and that table invites that Nazi to sit down and have dinner with them. It's not just one Nazi, it's literally now a table of Nazis, because you're supporting ideologies and rhetoric that impact and can kill people. And so I always remind people, be careful of who you surround yourself with, because eventually groupthink, you find yourself supporting such tactics. And again, we see this in religion, we see this in politics, and there are great things between spirituality and religion. I became a spiritualist to understand the ways of the spirit world, the unseen world, metaphysics, meditation, mediumship, psychic energy. What does that all entail? And I really moved away from the religious aspect, but they do go hand in hand, because religion is a lot of times based on belief, comfort, reflection, ethics, awe, what's true and false, where spirituality gets you into, where do I find meaning? How do I feel connected? How should I live my life? And for me as a spiritualist, moving away from the Catholic religion, because I was raised Catholic, to me it's more of, instead of following the messenger, I follow the message. And I hope today that you'll follow the message of what's going on around us, and that you'll become either awoke or awakened, or you'll become mindful and aware to what groupthinks are. And some of the things to pay attention of, symptoms of groupthink, are just, what Janus identified back in 1972 as the theory that when this started to come out, of how these groupthink decisions can really take you down a wrong path, is illusions of invulnerability. So lead members of the group are overly optimistic, engage in risk-taking. If there's unquestionable beliefs, lead members usually ignore possible morale problems, or ignore the consequences of an individual and group actions. Morals and ethics, we see that right now. Rationalizing prevents members from reconsidering their beliefs and causes them to ignore warning signs. Wow, that's, we see a lot of that right now, don't we? Stereotyping. If you stereotype somebody, lead members in a group think stereotype to ignore or even demonize members, to out members really a stereotype. Is just outing somebody in that group who may oppose or challenge the group's idea. And I'm sure you've been a part of that and experienced that yourself. Stereotype. I've been stereotyped many times for the work that I did. And I didn't want to do this work to begin with because I was worried about the judgment, the opinions, the stereotype, and the critics, the pundits, the cynics. But again, don't be a sheeple. Be a unicorn. Follow your own authentic self. Get your information, process it, use your intuition, use your discernment. You have gifts that you can use to navigate all this misinformation and all this chaos that's out there. And don't get caught up in the spoke of the wheel on the outer. Work to the inside and be on the inside of that spoke so you're not getting caught up in all this stuff. And that's also groupthink. Self-censorship. This is where it causes people who might have doubts to hide their fears or misgivings. So we actually can self-censorship and not speak up for what we're seeing literally before our eyes. And right now I just feel like I'm in the twilight zone. From everything I'm hearing, seeing, I'm seeing it with my own eyes. And when people want to get in debates with me, I just say, you know what? I'm informed. I've already made a rational, logical decision. I don't need to have a debate with you. Because trust me, people will want to debate you on everything from religion to politics to just, the sky is blue or the world is round. Mind guards act as self-appointed censors to hide problematic information in the group. And we see that right now. We have mind guards. Illusions of unanimity. Lead members believe that everyone is in agreement and feels the same way. And boy, we are in the emperor's new clothes. There are illusions of unanimity. Unanimity. I can't talk, I need more coffee. So we have these grand illusions of what I call the emperor's new clothes. And people, again, if you're going to buy into rhetoric and misinformation and things that you're seeing out there, I have to wonder if you truly believe that. Or, I hope that you don't, because that's groupthink and that's leading us down a path of like with the Bay of Pigs, the Challenger disaster. These are all groupthink activities, and what we're doing right now with this great pandemic is a little bit of a groupthink and a little bit of gaslighting. And then, of course, direct pressure is to conform, and it's often placed on members who pose questions, and those who question the group are often seen as disloyal or traitorous. We'll see this at the highest levels of government. We'll see this at the highest levels of religious. You'll even see it at the highest levels of business and corporations. Because there are a lot of groupthinks out there. And, groupthinks can have some benefits, especially when working with large numbers of people. It often allows the group to make decisions and complete tasks and finish projects quickly and efficiently, which is great. That's good for groupthink. But it's also, this phenomenon or this theory does have its cost. And, we don't want to get into suppression of anybody's individual opinion or their creative thought, because it can lead to poor decision-making problems. And again, this is something that I first learned about in philosophy, and something that I learned about in some of my critical thinking classes and time management classes, was being mindful and aware of groupthink. So I hope that helps. Again, I don't try to get into political spats or religious spats, but for me, I just want to point out as I'm seeing it, because I've heard it with my own ears, I've seen it with my own eyes, and there's a lot of stuff that's going on right now that is groupthink, gaslighting, emperor's new clothes. So be mindful of that. You have your greatest power while you're here. If you've worked with me, I always remind you, whether you're a client, whether you're a student in my group, you have free will and choice, guys. That is your greatest power while you're here. You have the power to choose, and you have the free will to make that choice. I just hope moving forward as a country, as a species, as a society, that we start to make better informed decisions, because otherwise, this is going to turn out like the Challenger, and it's going to explode and go the wrong way, and I hope that we don't do that. Because I think that, especially as Americans, as the United States, we can do this together. And again, I did see the great coming together, so I'm going to stick with that. I also saw sustainability and self-mastery, but we also have to self-master ourselves. And what a great time to do that during a great isolation period that Mother Earth has put upon us, to make us realize that life is short, but we also need to be respectful and be more of an ecosystem versus an ego system, because this lesson will repeat until it completes. And what we resist persists. Those are two laws that I follow a lot. So I want to get you your numerology. Your totem animal, the spirit animal for this week, is the unicorn. So don't be a sheeple. Be a unicorn. think for yourself, make decisions for yourself, and don't get caught up in groupthink. Don't get caught up in gaslighting. Be mindful of what you're watching through television, and use your intuition and your discernment, because we all know something's off. All of us know, regardless of what spectrum or what religion you fall in or what political party you fall in, we know something's off. Deep down, the soul understands that. Mother Earth knew something was wrong, so she put us in time out. And boy, she's healing, isn't she? So, your totem animal spirit for this week, spirit animal is the unicorn. The numerology number this week is the relationship change. We're changing our relationships not only with each other, but with the planet Earth behind us. That is all changing. The number is a 56. The 5 is representation of more freedom, loving adventure. The 6 is self-love. And the 5 and 6 together add up to 11, which is a master number, which is a teaching, all about teaching. So relationship change is your numerology number for this week. And your crystal for this week is actually a crystal that I use a lot, and that's called moldavite. And I'll show you. It's this little green sliver here was about 40 pounds in England when I was at the college. I bought it there. But it's called moldavite, and I think right now we need some moldavite in our lives. Moldavite's very expensive. It's very rare. It actually came from a meteorite that hit around the Czech Republic, Germany, parts of Russia, and Moldova. That's what it's named after. It's a dark green, kind of that dark green color. But what it is, it's a stone for the New Age. It's a form of tektite. It's said to have an extraterrestrial origin. We call that the extraterrestrial stone. And it was formed when a giant meteor struck the Earth millions of years ago, and then it morphed into the surrounding rocks called what is called a strewfield. And when they source it, when they pull it out of the Earth, that's why it's expensive, because it's a rare commodity stone. And like I said, that little sliver I have was about 40 pounds when I bought it. So if you have a big piece, good job, because that's if you got it cheap too, good for you. But moldavite is that extraterrestrial stone, and right now we're moving into a place of isolation, from the caterpillar to the isolation or the cocoon phase. And then, this too will pass, but we're going to come out of this much differently as butterfly people, hopefully, if we don't get caught up in groupthink and gaslighting and believing in the emperor's new clothes, because that leads to a very dangerous situation, whether it's another war, whether it's a division of a country, whether it's a failed state. Just go back and learn from history, guys. You'll learn that history often has a rhyme or a rhythm to it. It doesn't fully repeat itself, but it does have a rhyme or rhythm to it. And those that fail to learn from history are condemned to repeat it. We've learned that from history past. So I hope that you'll be a good student of life, a good student of history, that you'll continue to stay positive and encouraged and uplifting, keeping your chin up, thinking up, not thinking down during these unprecedented times that we're in. Again, like Charlie Chaplin reminds us, a day without laughter is a day wasted. So laugh often, love much, live well, stay safe, stay informed, stay at home if you can. We're staying here in Seattle, where this, I guess this isn't where it started. They kept saying Seattle was where the first cases of COVID-19 came in the United States. They're now finding through science and data and studies that it actually started with a young lady down in California all the way back in January. So there's just a lot of things that we don't know about this virus, guys. We're going to be continuing to learn. That's part of this new norm, how long it can live, how it moves, but also learn from history that that pandemic flu of 1918, we found that the second wave killed more people than the original outbreak. So when the first outbreak happened in 1918, it killed about 12 million people. And then World War I ended, and everybody was celebrating out on the streets, having a good time, celebrating the end of the war. And then it killed more people, between 20 and 50 million people, from the great influenza flu of 1918. This COVID-19 is 3 times more contagious. It lives longer on surfaces than the influenza flu. So just be mindful and pay attention to the data, the science, and the history to make an informed decision for you, and to stay safe and to stay healthy is what I would recommend. Because like I said, I've already been impacted personally by somebody I know. I know somebody that tested positive, a former colleague and friend of mine, paramedic, that tested positive for it. And I'm sure a lot of people will have it, but at the same time, I'm more mindful that this could be just the beginning of something bigger. Again, bubonic plague, Ebola. We need to be mindful. We need to think about groupthink. We need to have prevention, and we need to have proper planning, because if not, this might be an isolation period that could last a couple years, just like the flu of 1918. So, that's today's message. be mindful and aware of groupthink, because we know from history past groupthink has led to some very poor decision making and some very dangerous, poor, tragic outcomes. And I don't want to see that for our society, for humans, for the people I love. So I hope you enjoyed today's show. Again, I'm here every Monday morning starting at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. It's a 30-minute show of inspiration, encouragement, positivity, just to get you thinking outside the box. And we'll head over now for the Healing Cafe. So make sure to get on my YouTube channel and my Instagram channel. You can also follow me through Alexa. Just ask your Amazon Alexa to open up Positive Living, where you get spiritual tips. I'll be recording my 2 new tips this week, actually. So you can get spiritual tips from me if you're interested. Or just go to marclainhart.com or internet search Intuitive Prospector so I can work with you. So it's been great talking to you today. I hope that you have a fantastic week, that you stay safe and stay healthy and stay informed. This too shall pass. It's just going to take a little bit longer than what people are anticipating. So cheers to you. And again, thank you for all the birthday wishes. All the donations for my birthday, raising over $1,500 to pay it forward to Feed America for our local food banks. I really, truly appreciate the help and the golden rule of paying it forward. That is the secret of life. So have a great rest of your week. And if you want to join me over in the Healing Cafe, I'll be back up here on the Intuitive Prospector page for Q&A. I think we're going to do a meditation. So if you want to join me for a meditation with the sun shining and a lot of healing needed in our world, I hope that you'll join me on the Healing Cafe here starting at 8:30, which I'm a few minutes behind. So I'll get started on that. But have a great week, everybody. Take care. Namaste.